Hey everybody, it's your friend Stefan. I believe that you can stop selling and help more people buy. When you grow an audience, you can grow your business. So today I have one of my favorite people that is crushing LinkedIn. I absolutely love what she does on LinkedIn, and I want her to share what she's doing. I want to share what excites me about it, and then I want her to maybe share how she's doing it and teach us how we can do it. So I want to welcome my guest today, Ann Bono. Hello, Ann.
Hello, friend. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much. I know you're super busy at Penguin Random House, or is it Random House Penguin? How do
I mean, I guess it's Penguin Random House, but a lot of folks call it Penguin House, which I find very funny. I'm like, yes, I work at Penguin House, like at the zoo, but not.
Okay. Now,
But Penguin Random
interestingly
House.
enough, though, your LinkedIn, though, really all the posts that you do that I love, that I'm going to show some of those here in just a second. They don't really have anything to do with Random House, Penguin Random House, or with
No.
publishing. They really have to do with you and your thoughts on leadership, corporate leadership, being an employee, being an employer, and so forth. So, without further ado, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen and it was really these posts that just struck me. I love your videos. I love everything that you do. I think you are pure authenticity. I think you are literally pure authenticity. You are so you, and it comes through. And I think that's what people engage with. But let's give folks a little bit of an idea. Let me click share my screen here. And let's take a look at some of these posts that I absolutely love and hope that they'll show up. Okay, so here's one. I love this one. A salary buys my labor, not my silence. So
Yes.
talk to us a little bit. We'll leave this up and talk to us a little bit about how you decided that this was going to be your approach to LinkedIn.
Ooh, that is a big question. So like everything else, there was no plan. Most things that are good have no plans, actually. So I had no real idea about how I was going to approach LinkedIn. I knew I wanted to write. I knew that my message was going to resonate with the folks on LinkedIn. And the reason I knew that is because LinkedIn, unlike any other platform, is populated by folks who it's a business network, or it started off as a business network. So everybody there typically has a corporate job, typically works for at least a relatively large company, although there's a lot of startups in there now. And so I knew that if I wanted to talk about corporate America, how to make it better, the pitfalls of poor management, how to embrace radically candid, transparent, vulnerable, authentic leadership. That was an audience. That my audience is there. And so when I decided that I wanted to start talking about these topics, it seemed like a no-brainer. I did a bunch of research, and the research said, well, if you want to build an audience, you should probably post daily on LinkedIn. I said, okay, I can do that. What the hell am I going to talk about? Well, I'm a good storyteller. I can tell good stories about what's happened to me. I've been, God bless it, in enough crappy corporate situations that I have a whole arsenal, a metric buttload of file cabinets filled with poor corporate trauma stories. And so I just started writing. And I think I had about 900 followers when I started. I just started in January. And I have over 10,000 now. I think I might hit 10,300 today. And
Okay, so
all of
let's
it.
take a beat on that, because you just unloaded a fire hose of really good advice for people to listen to. So number one, you picked a platform where your audience was going to be. Not to say that you don't also post on other platforms or create on other platforms, but
Correct.
LinkedIn is your primary audience building platform. Is that right?
It
Okay,
is. It
and
is.
I do believe that people should ultimately try to pick a platform that's going to be your main focus, and that kind of becomes that hub. And then I do think that when you've created that content, you can have these other spokes and you can share it in other places. So number one, you pick LinkedIn. So for those of you that are out there paying attention, where is your audience and what is the platform and why? Ask yourself these questions to challenge yourself if you're on the right platform. So for example, TikTok is an incredibly easy platform right now to get followers and engagement, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right platform for you. So for Anne, LinkedIn was the platform for you. And but there's something that's really unique about what you're doing here, and I think that's why you have 10,000 followers. How long a period of time was that, by the way, from 900 to
What?
10,000?
10-ish? No, like 9 months. 9 months.
Okay,
About.
9 months.
Yep.
That
About
that
eight,
is
eight and
that
a half,
is
9 months.
it's meteoric. It really is incredible. So the other tidbit that you just dropped was that what you read and what you've done is you're posting daily. And that is quite a commitment. I know a lot of people out there are thinking like, oh my God, I don't have time to be posting daily. So I think you get out what you put in. And so Anna's putting in the effort that 5 days a week, right? It's not 7 days a week, but 5 days a week. You're
It's
posting to
7.
LinkedIn. Oh, is it really? You're doing
It's
weekends too?
7. Yes, I do
Wow.
weekends. In
Okay.
fact,
So 7 days a week
interestingly, yeah,
commitment. All
7
right.
days
So
a
now
week.
let's talk about amount of time commitment that you're putting into that. And how are you doing that? Are you batching it and saying on one particular day of the week, I'm creating 7 posts, or are you once a day carving out time to do a LinkedIn post?
So that's a fantastic question because I've done both. Right now, and mostly, I would say, I actually write every morning. I will wake up, I will walk my dog, and then I will typically while I'm walking my dog, I am thinking about what do I want to talk about today? I have a number, I always have a story, I always have an idea, I always have an angle, but I write every morning. I used to batch my content and I found that both work. Interestingly, though, when for me personally, so keep in mind, really, the writing cadence and when you do it and how you do it really has to feel good to you. It's not
Well,
something that, because you'll hear all these gurus and experts out there being like, batch your content, write in 30 days, write one big thing, and then slice it up throughout the month. For some folks, any number of methods might work. What I discovered
well,
for me is that when I batch my content, I actually become drier in terms of my prose. I become a lot more almost robotic. Like it's like I have a theme and I'm going to write about themes. And it for me it doesn't work. For me it works to wake up in the morning and go, what is on my mind today? What story do I want to tell today? What tidbit do I want to share, or what really resonated yesterday in the post? For example, in
mm,
the that post that you showed, that's a
sure.
salary buys my labor, not my silence. That post was actually born of a line that I posted the day before in another post. And that is the line that people kept quoting over and over and over. The post got a ton of shares. That particular, the
Well,
post previous to
I
this
want to
one,
show that right now. I've highlighted it on the image right here. Is that there's 114 reposts, but 2,500. It was 2,482 exactly when I screenshot this. So almost 2,500 people weighed in with a reaction that there was a point of engagement.
that's exactly right. But interestingly, that line, the line that's on the graphic itself, that line was a line in the previous day's post. And in the previous day's post, that is the line that people kept quoting and putting in
Mm,
the comments. And so you pay attention to that. I pay attention to that. I
sure.
reply to every
Yeah.
single well, almost every single comment on my post. I try to engage with everybody and try to engage with everything. And so I pay attention and I notice what works and what doesn't. And what I realized was that line had resonance. I had just spat it out. I was sitting down on my stairs writing my post the day before. I didn't think anything of that line. It's just
Sure. You
something that I
didn't create
say.
the soundbite. It's
I
just that the
didn't.
market reacted and created
The
it.
market
Let's take a look at a
reacted
few
to
of
it.
these others because I really love these a lot. And I'm hoping that people can understand that what I'm identifying with is a bold statement. You are unflinching and unafraid to make bold statements, to speak truth to power in many cases, which I find interesting because you do work in corporate America. I don't. I can speak truth to power because my clients are neither Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 or even Fortune 1000. I really work with entrepreneurs, startups, and solopreneurs. But you work for a big company and you've worked for big companies. And so I think it
Mhm.
does take some bravery to put some content out that even like, has anybody at your company once even said like, hey, Bono, maybe you want to throttle back a little bit with some of the things you're posting? Because not that you've ever
No,
thrown your own company under the bus or anything like that, but so
no,
nobody's approached you about your content. Well, that's great.
no, no. It's
So
interesting,
leadership is
actually.
about empowerment, not power. I love this. This is again is kind of speaking that truth to power. So you don't, as you said, you kind of wake up in the morning and it's what you're inspired and what hit you that day. It's not like you're trying to create this narrative arc that says, I'm going to start with this type of content and I'm going to bring people. It's not planned out that way. It's just like,
No.
it's coming from your heart. This is the stuff that I know is important to me. I think it's important to other people, and I'll create this. So now, what I want to talk about, and let's look at a couple others that I pulled here. It always. So there's another thing that's going on here. Let's take a look, everybody. So there is a formula to these memes, if you want to call them, and to these posts. First thing I want to call out is Anne is not just posting a meme, a picture of herself with a statement like this right here. It always is accompanied with a full post. And you can't see that here because this is just a screen grab. But if you click see more, the full post is there. So it starts with an image and a headline that stops the scroll. Okay. Most people are scrolling on their phones or they're scrolling on their laptop. And so here's a great picture. Here is a great title. It's going to stop the scroll and people are going to click and now go in and get the rest of the post. So for those of you that are creating on LinkedIn, another point that I want you to kind of like remember is just writing a post of 300 words, 150 words, 200, whatever the amount of words is, without a really engaging picture and a headline that's going to stop them, you're not going to see as many views. You're not going to get as much engagement. So this formula
exactly right.
really, really works. It doesn't hurt if you also are, you know, a LinkedIn model, if you will, and you always look great and have a great, you know, you always have great pictures going on. So it doesn't hurt. I don't know that I need to be taking this particular thing. I think I might have a lot less engagement if I'm taking big pictures of myself. But let's talk about the mechanics about this for a second, because this really does work. How are you doing this? Is there a space that you just have the background? You're just taking a selfie, and then you're going into what tool and building this? Like specifically, how do you build these memes?
Sure. I'm about to let you all behind the curtain of Oz because it ain't that magical. So let me start by first saying that there's a very specific reason why I choose to use my face, why I choose to use the selfie. And number one, it's purely algorithmic, right? The algorithm loves a face. The algorithm will always show a face, a post with a face more than anything else. And we as human beings, we always stop the scroll when we see a face, right? We always want to see what's going on there. So that's one of the things. But the second thing to remember is I write a lot about, to your point, corporate truth to power. I speak out a lot about what's wrong with corporate America, what's wrong with capitalism, how we can fix it from the inside. And it's interesting because even though I'm in corporate America, I don't look like somebody who would be in corporate America. And so that's important to me to showcase because you don't see a whole lot of faces that are brown with blue hair. I'm covered right now, but I've got tattoos all over the place. You don't see people like me in senior leadership in corporate spaces. And so it's important for me to showcase that we do exist. There is space for us here. It is safe. I can make it safe for you here because I'm here. And so that's another reason why I chose to essentially make my brand my face, because it's something that speaks to, again, truth to power, but also the desperate need for authenticity and that people don't have to be buttoned up, white, blonde, wearing a tie and male in order to succeed in these spaces, right?
I love
so
that.
So let's put all of that. So all of those things are the reasons behind why my face is the thing. Yeah. But you're like, do you have a special space? Do you have a studio? Do you know what that wall is that everybody always sees? That's my bathroom. I have a nice big wall that encompasses just enough of my face with enough space above it and behind it. That's basically like a beigey type of color that I can put my face, high contrast. That's my bathroom that everybody sees. Like I literally...
And you're just holding the phone in your hand and taking a selfie.
I am literally just like this. I do a couple, depending on what I'm trying to do with my finger, with my hand, with my smile, with whatever. And then I just snap it. That's it. I snap it.
And do you do a few of those and then pick the one that you like? Are you snapping 3 or 4 and then you go, oh, there's the one, or you just do the one and go, I'll make it work?
I usually get it on one take. It's one of those things where at this point I've learned how to contort my face on whatever expression it is that I want to do. People say they love the expressions on my face. They're like, we can tell what the post is going to be about just by looking at your face and whether you look annoyed or happy. So at this point, I've learned how to contort my face. And my wife loves it.
So have you written it first? You've written that headline first, and the last thing is the image that's going to support it?
That's exactly right. So I sit down and I write my post. I know what I'm going to write about. To your point, I always have a eye-catching headline, first sentence. So I always make sure that the first 2 lines of whatever I'm posting is enough to stop the scroll.
Sure.
That just makes you want to click that, read more, and see what. And then after I write it, I have my hashtags. I do all my stuff. I have a very specific formula that I follow for my post so that it's recognizable. And then I take my bathroom picture. I go, and what you're seeing me wear every single time, those are my PJs. I am not in anything fancy. I wear a hoodie to sleep every night. I'm perpetually cold. This is what I wore to bed last night, right? So that's my PJs. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll forget to post and I'll be like, oh shit, I should probably go post. So I was dressed for this one, but that's rare.
Yeah.
That's incredibly rare. I snapped that one on my way out the door. But yeah, and so then I just go and I snap a picture in my bathroom because it has the nice wall. And then I used to actually use the LinkedIn text editor to put it up there. But what I realized is LinkedIn doesn't have font variety and it doesn't really have contrasting fonts enough. So I actually do take my picture and I go into Instagram and I go into the stories mode, and I upload the picture into stories mode, and I then use the text to put it in, and then I just download it. I don't post it.
Yep.
I just download the
Yep.
picture.
No,
I
I get
edit
it.
it in my camera, and then I
I get
upload
it.
it, and then off
All
we
right.
go.
So quick
It's
recap on the technical stuff for people. If you want to emulate this, right? So the key notes that have just been given here. The algorithm loves a face. We want to see your face. Your face is part of your brand, if you will. And what you're trying to do is brand yourself. That is the purpose of LinkedIn. Again, taking a note from what Anne's doing, it's not about her job with Penguin, Random House, Penguin. And part of that is because Anne will at some point likely not be with that organization if it follows the way the rest of people are in corporate America. At some point, there'll be another opportunity that she'll take in some years. And so the point is not to be promoting the company that you're with now necessarily. It's really about kind of promoting yourself as somebody that has value to share, as somebody that would be really awesome to work with. And of course, that benefits the companies that she works for at the time. So technical recap, using Instagram on the app, on the phone. So you take that picture wherever you're happy to take that picture. Try to frame it up like this. I think the other thing that Anna's done really well, she's really figured out how to frame that shot in terms of how much her face and kind of upper body is taking of that square shot and how much free space she's leaving to be able to put that title in. So find Anne Bono on LinkedIn. Go and find these posts. You just click on activity, scroll down, find her post, and you can emulate this. Take the picture of yourself. Use the Instagram app. Click on the story mode. Click on the text. Use a headline font that you like. Write whatever headline. Don't write a post. It's just the headline to get people to stop scrolling, look at the picture, and then click more. It's even though those 2 lines that Anne's writing is hopefully going to incentivize them to click the more, it's really this meme that they go, oh, I dig this. Let me go and see the whole post that she's writing. And by the way, the other thing that's important here, if you never clicked see more, she still had mission accomplished because people are still clicking that like button or love or share just based on the meme having never read the full post, right?
Yes.
So for those of you that are like, oh my God, I don't know if I've got time to write a whole post, I would tell you, you would probably get 80% of the value out of doing these memes because frankly, this meme says it all. I'm not Gen Z, I'm in my 40s. Leadership is about empowerment, not power. Do I really need the full post with that? No, I think I get the message. Not saying not to do it. I'm saying if you're thinking you don't have time, you do have time to do this. Speaking of time, and how much time, so you said you're not batching, you write it in the morning, so forth. How much total to get it thought, written, pictured, and posted? The LinkedIn investment on a daily basis.
I'd say probably between 30 and 35 minutes. However,
wow.
Right. However, I am a fast writer. I am a good writer. I've been writing most of my life. I've also noticed, by the way, that I've gotten better and better and better because I'm a daily writer now. Like with everything else, the more you do something, the better you get. But I would say I am an anomaly in terms of how long that takes. I also post on TikTok, and a lot of folks ask me, well, how long does it take you to make a TikTok video? 20 minutes. But I'm in marketing. I've been in marketing for 20 years. I'm an early adopter of social. I am an anomaly in terms of time. I would say that if the average person building up a brand and just starting out, we're going to do this, it would take them anywhere between 1 and 2 hours. That's been what my, folks.
And I think a 1 hour investment is doable. I think 2 is pushing it. I think that's where, you've got life, you've got work to do, you've got all these other things. I think adding 2 hours to the day is hard. I think adding an hour is doable. One of the other things that I love about you, I've said over and over and over, is your authenticity and transparency. Here is your post from National Coming Out Day. You certainly don't hide that you are a member of the LGBTQ plus community. And I also think that is pretty awesome. So talk a little bit about how personal you get on LinkedIn, because I think a lot of people think of LinkedIn as a professional platform that is about posting whatever your company is doing, or I got this new job. It seems to be just super boring in a way. And you are the opposite of boring. So talk about the fact that you get super personal.
That's a great question. So first, I'd like everybody to challenge their perceptions of what professional actually means, because professional is defined as the skill and ability to do a job. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation or gender identity is. It doesn't matter how you dress or how you look. What matters is how well you do your job. That's what professionalism is. And so I take that very much to heart. And to me, I get as personal as I possibly can, because I can't expect my teams to show up authentically, fully, and safely for me at work if I am not showing up for them authentically and fully and creating that safety for them. I can't expect people to open up to me and tell them what's hurting and what's causing them stress and how I can help them, truly help them, if I'm not showing that I am open and willing and able to be that person. So a lot of what I share on LinkedIn is deeply personal. I talk about my journeys and my struggles. If you go to LinkedIn today, you'll probably see a story about how I'm struggling as a leader, because it's freaking hard to be careening into a deep recession and living in a dystopian capitalist hellscape and trying to keep a team upbeat and doing work, right?
Yeah,
But that's the
no doubt.
thing, right? It's hard. And so I bring my full self to LinkedIn. I bring my journey into, discovering my gender, my journey into discovering I brought people into my marriage. I just got married a month ago, and my wedding
Uh,
pictures were on LinkedIn. Why?
Congrats again.
Thank you. But why do I do that? I do that because I can't tell you. It's one of the most gratifying things I've ever experienced, to be completely honest, is how people have, both in the comments and in my DMs, and have come to tell me, you have made me feel like I can be more myself, and how I deserve that space, and how I can be authentic because you show up. Because you show up. And that is why I bring my full self. So when you think about it, it's so almost ridiculous to say it out loud. I am my fullest, most authentic self on LinkedIn, but I am. And it's because when I do it, I find that I can make other people feel like they are safe to do so as well. And they are safe to make that space for themselves. And again, it's why I use my face as my brand, because a blue-haired, heavily tattooed, brown, genderqueer person exists in these spaces, and other folks who are like me can too. But without
Yeah.
me saying it and showing up, nobody knows that exists. Nobody knows that exists. Nobody knows that that's a possibility, because capitalist dystopian hellscapes do a great job of telling you where you don't belong.
Amen. Okay, so as we wrap this up, let's talk about the payoff, which I think you've touched on part of, which is when
Mm-hmm.
when you're getting comments from people that are saying, hey, I feel like I can show up because of you. I feel that I can be me. I feel that I don't have to pretend to be somebody else on LinkedIn. All of those, that feels great. I know that
Mm-hmm.
when I help people with what they do for a living, and they say, hey, I really appreciate the advice you gave. I took it and this is what happened. Feels great. But let's talk, I think, a little bit about the business payoff, if there is one, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
people, if they're looking at this and saying, I would love to be able to grow from 900 to 10,000 in less than a year in followers, what has the impact been to you, whether it's professionally, whether it's financially, or if it's just purely like, this is how I give back, and I get, I get that feedback, and that's what keeps me going. So what's the payoff?
That's such a great question. So initially, it was just because I wanted a platform to talk about what I'm passionate about, and I'm passionate about leadership. It's interesting because out of that was born a coaching practice. And so people started contacting me being like, oh, do you do leadership coaching? I said, well, I was thinking about it, and yes, I would love to do leadership coaching. So yeah, there was absolutely a business impact to it. I've also gotten speaking engagements out of it. And because people just reach out and they're like, would you like to come and talk to this group or that group? Or, yes, absolutely. My TikTok, my TikTok videos got me a literary agent. So I'm working on a book right now that's going to be published, and so does it come with, I shouldn't say, does it come with immense benefits for everybody? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I know that for me, showing up authentically and showing up like I have has actually led to not just a tremendous personally fulfilling impact with just people, literally hundreds and hundreds of people just kind of saying thank you. But for me, it's also led to coaching clients. It's led to a literary agent. It's led to speaking engagements. It's all in the
That's
span
great.
of less than a year. And
Yeah.
in fact, you asked me a question earlier about how have people at your job come and said, hey, tone it down. I can
Mm.
tell you, I wasn't working at Penguin Random House when I started doing all of this. I started working at Penguin Random House in May. So I haven't been there for that long. And when I was going through the interview process, and I got an offer, and I was so stoked. one of the things that I asked and said was, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop posting. I'm not going to be quiet. This is a passion. And they said, no, that's one of the reasons why we want you. And
so you could add that actually it's likely that this platform of yours possibly aided in you getting that
entirely
gig.
likely. Yeah. My
Yeah.
my vocal nature around how I want to change the space of how I want to change the face of corporate America, how it deserves to be diverse, how it deserves to be psychologically safe. Yes, it is. And interestingly, a lot of my coworkers, I work in a $10,000 person company. So I'm not going to know
Sure.
everybody, but people come out of the
Yeah.
woodwork to say, oh my God, I saw you on LinkedIn. You work at Penguin Random House on Teams, like in our corporate teams. Like, can we hang out? Can we talk? It's actually created so much community, and it's created such a tremendous amount of just safety, psychological safety, and authenticity, and bravery and courage and radical candor among the people that I work with, and the people that the 10,000 plus folks that have chosen to spend a little bit of their days with me every single day. When I sit down on my staircase and write whatever it is that's at the top of my head, and then I take a selfie in my bathroom. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's awesome.
It's amazing.
So what's next? As we wrap this up, you didn't expect, I think you came to this with the right attitude. You did not sit down and say, I'm going to get on LinkedIn and I'm going to grow to 10,000 followers. What you did was you said, I'm going to come to LinkedIn. I'm going to speak truth. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to be my authentic self. I am going to be vulnerable. I'm going to do all the things that I can do to encourage other people to do the same. That was your mission, and I think it's been mission accomplished. What you've discovered is it resonated so well that you grew to a 10,000 follower mark on LinkedIn, which is significant. And you've talked about speaking engagements, coaching opportunities, and possibly helping you get the full-time gig that you have. What's next? Now that you know what you've done, now that you actually have some data to it as a marketer, do you have a vision for what the future holds for you? Do you have a goal, not necessarily saying, yes, I'm going to take this to 100,000 people, but has anything else manifested out of this where now your vision is, a little bit, whatever, clearer or honed in on some next level for you?
I love that question. My vision is to grow this as big as it will go, because what I want to do is empower so much of the corporate community that we can't help but change the face of it. I want to be on as many goddamn stages as I possibly can be. I want to be on as many freaking podcasts as I can be. I want to write books. I want to just everything. Because that's it. There is no, I mean, my next tangible goal is 20,000 followers on LinkedIn and 100,000 followers on TikTok. I like those numbers. They seem big. They seem ambitious. They seem bananas. I think I will reach all of them. But really the goal
I don't think it's bananas at all. And I know you will.
But really the aim behind all of it is to do on an ever bigger scale what I've managed to do on a small scale already, which is empowering people to feel like they are exactly as they should be, and they deserve transparency and trust and empathy and vulnerability, and they deserve safety, and they deserve to be paid what they're worth, and they deserve to sit in boardrooms and executive meetings, and no matter how they look, no matter how they identify, that's the dream. That's the freaking goal. The goal is to put on a flame retardant suit in this capitalist hellscape and turn it on its head. That's the goal.
I love it. Well, this was supposed to be a 10 or 15 minute interview about how to do what Anne's doing on LinkedIn, but unfortunately it's 30 minutes long because she's that good and we got that much good information. So I cannot thank you enough. I know how busy you are. We had to schedule this a few times. So thank you for making the time. This, I think, arguably will probably be one of the better audience building LinkedIn conversations, period. I will get you a copy of it so that you can share it to your 10,000 people. I'm so appreciative of this. I've learned a lot and I'll be applying this to LinkedIn. You will see, I will be copying you, Bono. In fact, I already copied your LinkedIn banner, right? So your LinkedIn banner is be a better human. And then I was like, oh, mine's way too busy. I went up there and completely copied yours, and mine says build a bigger audience. So I will be copying you more as I figure out how to do these memes against a bathroom wall and using Instagram and all that other stuff. Because the fact is, guys, this works. I hope you found this as valuable as I did. grow a bigger audience, and you will grow your business. You can stop selling. You can just help more people buy. That's what I believe. Thank you so much, Anne, for joining us. And you can find Anne Bono on LinkedIn, and you can be the 10,001st follower of hers. So
Thank
thanks so
you.
much. And we'll see you folks whenever I do another one of these again.